The White Russian is an absolute classic of a cocktail. I remember drinking tons of these in my late teens and in the early 20s. I was never a beer drinker and I really did love my sort of dessert cocktails. You know, your White Russians, your mudslides, your screaming orgasms, or MSOs as they were called in those days. You know, they always went down a treat. Now, me personally, I just can't handle dairy anymore. I love the taste of them, but a thick, heavy dairy, I just really can't do. I have now seen sort of dairy cream alternatives in the supermarkets, like Oatly. I saw a little carton of cream alternative in the supermarket, so you could go down that route. But for me, it's still just that little bit too heavy. But let's be honest, if I could handle the dairy, stuff like this is still an absolute favourite amongst most people. So to make the White Russian, it's so flipping easy. Equal measures. We're going 30 ml of your favourite vodka. Just straight into a glass over ice. There's absolutely no need to shake. We're going 30 ml of, at the moment, Kahlua. I'll talk a bit more about the coffee liqueur in a second. But 30 ml vodka, 30 ml coffee liqueur, and then we do the same. This is roughly about 45 ml, but 35 ml of single cream. Traditionally, just sort of poured over the top, and that should just kind of float over there like that. And that, we'll leave a little bit in there because that'll be a bit too much. And that is traditionally how White Russian is served up. And because of that effect, most bars don't even garnish that up. There's no real garnish for that. You could, if you wanted to go adventurous, you could do like I used to do, to be fair, I used to get 12 bars, chocolate bars, they're like dairy milk. For those in the US, they're like dairy milk, but it's sort of like light and wrapped sort of thing. Like a flake, but chocolate coated sort of thing. I used to get like a half a 12 bar, and just kind of rest that on top there. But traditionally, I'd never put anything on there. You could go nutmeg or cinnamon or anything like that if you wanted to, but you don't need to. And I've forgotten his name now. I haven't watched the film for years. The Big Lebowski used to dip his finger in there and stir it. That's the traditional way of doing it. Okay, so we've made the traditional recipe up. We've done that. How can we go about flipping it up? How can we make it better? Well, look, you know the syrups are going to come out to play in a minute. Of course they are. It's what we sell. But before I get to that route, let's talk about the alcohol content. So first off, you can change up the vodka. I'm a big fan of JJ Whitley for this. I forgot to bring the vanilla syrup in. Oh, there's another couple I forgot to bring in a minute. But I forgot to bring the vanilla, vodka in. But JJ's, the toffee vodka in this, the vanilla vodka are just a great kind of riff in it. Proper toffee forward, proper vanilla forward. For me, much better than Absolute. But that's not, you know, you can use Absolute. Absolute is still a lovely vanilla vodka. I just prefer JJ Whitley, that's all, personal opinion. You know, you don't have to stick to those brands. There are tons of flavoured, sort of this style of flavoured vodka out there that you could use. You could even, you really wanted to, you could even use a spiced rum. But let's try and stick to the I was going to call it the B52 then, the White Russian. Let's stick to vodka. But I mean, that said, rum is the biggest growth category at the UK at the moment, of course it is. So, you know, a spiced rum alternative would be a pretty good seller on pubs and bars menus at the moment. But today, you know, I just, part of me, as much as I love rum, part of me wants to keep this traditional, he says, as you're talking about riffing it up. Now the next direction we could go is the coffee liqueur. Now I'll flash these up on screen either side. I'm not sure which side it'll be, but I'll flash up two of my big ones, Mr. Black and Luna. Both of those lovely coffee liqueurs. And for me, I do tend to use those more than I do use Kahlua. I use Kahlua here because it's here, but I don't really use it for what I do because Mr. Black and Luna are pretty much unsweetened. It's a little bit of sweetness to them, but they are generally unsweetened. And for me, a better tasting coffee product as well. But the cool thing about them being unsweetened is that means that you can play about more easily with syrups and different flavours. Because if you add a syrup on top of this is going to be really, really sweet. That's brilliant if you've got a really, really sweet tooth. But if you haven't got that much of a sweet tooth, stuff like Kahlua, Tia Maria doesn't really give you that much leeway. Now, to riff this up with sugar syrups, especially if you go with the Luna or Mr. Black, you know, you can keep the same ratios. You can do 30 ml of vodka, you could do 30 ml of your coffee liqueur, Mr. Black say, and you could do 30 ml of cream. And that does allow you to sort of add 10 to 15 ml of a flavoured sugar syrup. Now let's start off with Monin, and I think the direction I need to sort of classify for this, I would go more coffee syrup flavours than cocktail fruit syrup flavours. I think the coffee syrup flavours, obviously because we've got coffee, are going to work a treat. So I've just picked out 4 random ones from Monin, and I've got to look at the back because I don't know what they are. I've got honey, I've got speculoos, which is those like biscotti biscuits, you know, those little biscotti biscuits that you get with coffee. That's an absolute treat in there. We have got butterscotch, I've got praline, you could go popcorn, you could go, I'm not going to say the other flavours because I've got them coming out right now. And the immediate one I was going to say is vanilla, but it looks like I've finished up the vanilla syrup, so I've got no more vanilla syrup here. There's probably a Monin one here somewhere, but I was going to give George William Fox a bit more love because there's more flavours here that would work exceptionally well. So I've just picked out a handful here. Salted caramel or plain normal caramel in that is going to be delicious. Gingerbread, of course, it is. Pumpkin spice that Laura's got in the office, absolutely delicious. Hazelnut, mulled spice towards Christmas in a, you want to call that a B52, in a White Russian is going to be phenomenal. Orgeat, that almond notes with a hint of sort of orange kind of going through there is delicious. We know orange works with coffee. I know almond works with coffee. Absolutely exceptional. I have got a vanilla here, eggnog. It's like custard. It's like custard on heat. You know, you can swap that in for like porn star martinis for your vanilla syrup in there, and it's absolutely delicious. The custard syrup works a treat as well, but you know, you've got eggnog for that extra kind of sort of. So the one I'm just going to make up, I'm just going to send it next door because I know Laura will have this. I'm going to do salted caramel. I'm just going to do 15 ml, and I know she's got a sort of semi-sweet tooth, so this will be absolutely fine with Kahlua. But as I say, for normally, I would probably go Mr. Black, if I'm being honest. But 50 ml sugar syrup, 30 ml of your Kahlua, 30 ml of your vodka. I probably will just give that a tiny little bit of a stir. And then I'm just going to top it up with my single cream just over the top. And again, that should float quite nicely on there. And there we go. Flavoured White Russian. Let me know in the comments below what flavour, what riff would you come up with for the White Russian?